All right, here we have the Blue Star Fern. This plant is definitely growing for its foliage. You can see this nice little blue sort of hue that it has. It's sort of a little dusting on it. Super pretty, striking plant. And it's one of those ferns, you know, if you have not had luck with ferns in the past, or if you've struggled to keep ferns alive in the past, this is not a finicky fern at all. This is definitely a super beginner-friendly kind of a fern. That's because it's tolerant to a wide range of conditions. But let's get started into the care video for this, starting with the light. So first of all, this plant is going to do well with bright light, okay? It doesn't need to be right up in a window. It doesn't need the widest view of the sky. It's not the pickiest when it comes to that, but it still wants bright light. Make sure that it can see some sky. I would back it off the window a couple of feet, and that's how it's going to be happiest and grow best for you. It can adapt to a lower light situation, but it's not going to grow as well or robustly, and so I would just put it in a more bright light to medium light location. That's how you're going to get the best growth on your Blue Star Fern. Next, let's talk about watering. So again, they're not super picky when it comes to watering, but they will grow best with consistent moisture. I like to wait for the topsoil to dry out in between thorough soaking. So I come by every few days, I check the topsoil. If it's dry, I give it a really good soak. If it's wet, I wait a few more days and check again until the topsoil is dry, give it a really good soak. Now, if you forget to water and maybe it dries out, you know, 25, 50%, these are very hardier and they're not going to show many signs of stress even when you let them dry out beyond what they really want to be dried out as. So don't worry too much. Just as soon as you notice the soil is dry, give it a really good thorough soak and it'll bounce back pretty easily for you. Next, we will talk about repotting. So they don't really like to be repotted. They are a little bit sensitive when it comes to that. So make sure you're only repotting when it's super root bound, okay? A plant is never going to decline because it's in too small of a pot. That's not really a thing. So just make sure that you're seeing really good signs of the plant being root bound before you repot them. And I just repot them in 100% just houseplant regular soil. They do like to retain quite a bit of moisture, so you don't need to mix it in with any moisture or moisture draining, like sharp draining material like a pumice or a cactus soil or sand or anything like that. They do like to retain moisture, so feel free to just do a full mixture of the houseplant soil, which you can pick up at any local garden center or right here at Famous in Oregon if you don't want to come into the shop. Next, we'll talk about fertilizing. So ferns typically like to have quite a bit of fertilizer, but that's not the case for this one either, which also makes it even more low maintenance, right? I just do a regular, well-balanced, general-purpose fertilizer. You can use granular or you can use liquid soluble. If you're going to use liquid soluble or something that you have to apply frequently, less is more, right? Every few months in the growing season, you might only need to fertilize 2 or 3 times during the spring and summer months when the plant is actively growing. But that's going to do it for the care instructions for the Blue Star Fern. If you have any questions about this plant, let me know in the comment section below. Or of course, you can always message me at Tanner the Planter on Facebook and Instagram.